It's a high drive center field. Beer leans back. This game is turned upside down. Pujols into the air. It's deep to left. Taylor's back at the wall. It's 700.
On fly ball. Deep right. There it goes. Soaring into history.
Fastball hit to left. It is long gone.
Hello and welcome to Sweet for Contact's Baseball Podcast. Today is August 5th, 2023. We are a few days post-trade deadline. We are missing our Dallas compatriot, but I still have my East Texas boy here. Aiden, how are we doing today?
Pretty good. Ready for this Rangers game at 3.
Ready for the Rangers game at 3. That series is with who?
The Marlins won first game. Got a game against their bullpen today, basically. So we usually suck in bullpen games, though. That's the problem.
Yeah, you only see each pitcher one time. You can't really find a rhythm against the guy.
Yeah.
I feel that. We just wrapped up the Astros-Yankees game, and Nestor Cortez fired a few 96-mile-an-hour bullets. And I don't think I've ever seen him do that before. Yeah, he reared back at 96 a few times.
I was checking the game day some, and I saw he's kind of getting a little high bit of strikeouts, and then they pulled him in that 5th inning, I think. And I was like, come on, like keep him for one more inning at least.
So this was his first start off his rehab assignment. He only had 2 rehab starts, so they kind of rushed him through it. And so they had him on a pretty tight pitch count. But he pitched 4 innings.
I think.
Yeah. He went 4 innings, had a lot of strikeouts. He was rearing back. I think he knew he was only going to be out there for 4 innings, so he was just rearing back and letting them fly.
Yeah.
And he got a lot of love on the outside corner, which that helps out a lot. So
it's a weird dynamic between the Astros and Yankees. Feels like when the Yankees are good, Astros absolutely clobber and own them. But the one year the Yankees suck, the Astros kind of, lose 2 there.
The Houston issue has been all year that they kind of play worse against teams that are not in high leverage spots. Like they would lose. They got swept by Detroit, I think, early in the year, lost 2 out of 3 or 3 out of 4 at home or something like that. They lost way too many games versus bad teams early on, but then they'd go to Atlanta, sweep Atlanta, then go to Tampa and win 2 out of 3 in Tampa, and then come home and lose the Oakland A's 2 out of 3. And it's just like, guys, beat the teams you're supposed to beat, please. Like, this would be so much easier if you would just do that. But sometimes it just works that way. And Nestor was nasty today. You got to give him credit. And that bullpen for the Yanks, honestly, is better than I thought it was. Or maybe they just kind of had all the right pieces today. But JV was back out there. Let's see, 7 innings.
7 hits on
2 earned runs on 97 pitches. So first day back in a Houston uniform, he got a few big strikeouts. Had a kind of a rough first inning, but put it together pretty well and looked like a guy. So
I think in the 5th inning, he had 1 out in the 5th inning, and I was like, okay, you may have another inning in this game. I didn't realize he was going to go to the 7th. I thought the 6th was it for him for sure.
I thought 6 was going to be done, but he talked the pitching coach into letting him go back out, I guess. But speaking of Verlander, let's do a quick just trade deadline recap. Obviously, we kind of talked about some stuff. The big one on the day was probably the Verlander deal with the Mets. The Mets got outfielder Drew Gilbert and Ryan Clifford, 2 of the top 5 farm system in the Astros system. Obviously,
Which
for me, pretty heavy.
System.
It's a bad farm system, but it was starting to kind of tick up a little bit. They had a couple good international signings last year. Drew Gilbert was a good signing in the draft last year. And some of the younger guys are kind of picking things up. It was starting to move better. But Gilbert and Clifford, 2 of the top 5, definitely brings that Astros system back down to earth a little bit.
Yeah.
But at the same time, you're also getting basically Verlander at a 50% discount because the Mets sent over essentially half his contract, even on the option. If the option gets picked up, he's still getting half of that taken care of by the Mets. So don't love losing Gilbert, but is what it is.
I get the Astros during the off season, the thing with Verlander was kind of they didn't want to give that second year. I believe it was 2-year contract, right? Or was it a 3
So I think the Astros were prepared to do 2 years, but they wanted to go like 2 years, 35 mil, and the Mets were like, we'll go 2 with an option at like 30, 38, 39 mil. And so they gave him that third year was the thing, I think.
Which now the Astros, instead of signing him, they kind of had to give up 2 of their better prospects for him at the deadline, kind of messing with that farm system that was already kind of iffy.
I will say this too, just to counteract that a little bit, is that I think all 5 of the Astros' top 5 prospects right now on the pipeline are all outfielders. And so them losing 2 outfielders when, they still have McCormick playing a really good center field. You still have Tucker. You still have Alvarez. And so I don't know if we necessarily needed 5 of our top guys to be outfielders.
Yeah.
So, I can justify it, but it does hurt losing him.
Was Gilbert in the top 100? I didn't think he was. Was he the only Astro in the top 100?
So at the beginning of the year, the top 100 featured Hunter Brown because he had not reached his full Major League service time yet. On the revised one, Brown comes off because he obviously met his time, and then Gilbert went up. I think he was sitting he was somewhere about halfway down the list, I think.
Halfway down. Okay.
So, I mean, he was a good prospect to have for sure.
Okay.
The Orioles picked up Jack Flaherty from the Cardinals in exchange for 3 guys. Again, that high upside, low ceiling with Flaherty. Maybe he goes in and just can eat some innings for them. The Blue Jays made another deal with the Cardinals. I don't know if we covered their first deal, but the Blue Jays and the Cardinals were active again. This time the Blue Jays picked up Paul DeYoung on the deadline because of the Bichette injury.
We did not do anything the day before or 2 days before the deadline or so. So the Scherzer trade, the Hicks trade, stuff like that, we haven't gone over yet. Gotcha.
Obviously, with Bichette going down, they needed a shortstop answer. It happened to be the deadline, so they picked up Paul DeYoung on a 1-for-1. The Phillies went out from the Tigers and got Michael Lorenzen, bringing in another starting pitcher for them who was fantastic in July. I think, yes, they gave up an infielder, their number 5 prospect for Michael Lorenzen, which in a 1-for-1, maybe a little scary, but
was just because Lorenzen, is he a rental or does he have an extra year?
I believe he's a rental. Let me just type in his name real quick into my little sport track, and let's see real quick. Michael Lorenzen is, in fact, a rental. He will be an unrestricted free agent. The Padres went and got Scott Barlow from the Royals. We had talked about Barlow a handful of times kind of leading up into the summertime for trades. And one of the more interesting deals, I thought, the Marlins and Guardians made the move with Josh Bell. They picked up Gene Segura and then prospect Khalil Watson, which
that was
pretty big prospect name.
Don't forget, Padres were the 3rd team in that. They got Garrett Cooper out of that.
The Gene goes over to the Guardians, and I think that same day they just straight up DFA'd him.
DFA'd him 10 minutes later.
So this was basically, hey, you take Bell, we want Watson. In order for us to get Watson from you, we'll eat Segura's salary and just call it even. And, with the Guardians, moving a guy like Josh Bell, who hasn't had a great year, I understand that. But it's, 700 OPS, having kind of an okay year, I guess. But you're only 2.5 games back. I get the idea of being able to bring in a guy like Khalil Watson to your farm system, but and I thought it was kind of maybe a weird move.
The stats have shown that Bell's a little been unlucky this year, which I've made some jokes about I'm going to side with luck and Josh Bell's not going to be better than Garrett Cooper. I've made some jokes in the group chat about that. But if Bell can get that luck figured out, because he's hitting the ball pretty hard this year and his ex-WOBA is a bit higher than his actual WOBA. So if he can figure it out, I think he was going into this series against us after this first game, he was 7 for his last 11 And then after the first AB, he was 8 for his last 12. But that I think he struck out or something the next 2 appearances, so it's like 8 for 15 now, his last 15 appearances. If he can figure it out, that's a really good piece for Miami. They kind of need that slugging because right now they got a bunch of they get on base some. They got what's his name? I can't even think. Luis Arias, big on base. I couldn't think. Big on base guy. Hate seeing him come up to bat every game because I just know he's going to slap something up the middle and no one's going to be there because we're not playing a shift because he can hit it anywhere. And they needed a guy who could really add some slugging to their team because they hit a lot of single home runs. They need some more like 2-run home runs, 3-run home runs. They don't have a lot of that this year. And Josh Bell's a guy that can make that happen.
For sure. He's also hit in a lot of playoff atmosphere. Not a lot of those Marlins guys have. And so getting him down that stretch, trying to secure a spot in the playoffs could go a long way. I'm just surprised by the Guardians only being 2.5 games out in their division to sell.
It's kind of like what the Brewers did last year when they sent Hader away, like their star closer, which Bell isn't nearly as good as Hader was for the Brewers. But like the Brewers were also in first place last year when they did that, I believe. And then they ended up not making the playoffs at all. It was very confusing.
Speaking of Bell and the Padres history, they went out and acquired the oldest player in Major League Baseball. The 43-year-old Dick Mountain has come to the land of Slam Diego along with G-Man Choi for a 3-player package. 3-player package.
Oh, yeah. Who was the package? Who was in the package?
I've got left-handed pitcher Jackson Wolf, outfielder Estuar Suero, and first baseman Alfonso Rivas. Okay.
I know someone else picked up Ryan Weathers later, which used to be a big Padres pitching prospect. Used to be a pretty highly thought of prospect, and he's just kind of dropped off recently.
Oh wow! Wolf, Jackson Wolf is a 6'7" pitcher.
Oh my gosh.
Number 16 prospect on the Padres system. So I guess they just kind of packaged some kind of mid-tier guys in their top 30 together for this.
I think the Padres had to get Rich Hill to get G-Man. I think that either that was they had to pick him up if they were going to get G-Man Choi, or they wanted an innings eater guy. I don't really get the Rich Hill move. I get the G-Man Choi move, though, because their thought process was, let's get a platoon started. So they got the lefty bat and G-Man, and then they went out and got the righty bat and Garrett Cooper. So now they've kind of got those two platooning together, which it's a pretty solid platoon.
I mean, that's 2 good ones to do it with, I would think. The Diamondbacks made a move, and they went out and got Tommy Pham. So we got Tommy Pham in the NL West, so they'll be meeting the Giants here again soon.
I didn't like that
Jeremy Rodriguez.
I really didn't like their trade deadline. I thought that they needed a starter really badly. They've got Gallen, Kelly. Sorry, I don't know if I'm saying it right. They got Gallen, Kelly, and then their next 3 just they're iffy. And I really thought they could use a starter like Flaherty. They could have used. It would have been really hard to get Cease. I think Cease would have been a good option for them. I think Cease would have been a really good option for the Orioles, but apparently they were asking for Holiday for Cease, and you're not giving up Holiday if you're the Orioles. Montgomery could have been a good choice for them, but he ended up getting traded to us. There were a bit of options I thought they could go for. Maybe try for Eduardo Rodriguez. But who knows? I think them and the Dodgers were probably the biggest losers for me in this deadline, even though I like the fan pickup.
Gotcha. I'm going to skip around a little bit here just so we're not wasting a ton of time, because there's a lot of small moves kind of going on. The Brewers made a move, though, with the Diamondbacks, kind of not a head scratcher, but just kind of an interesting one to me. Andrew Chafin, the sheriff, went to the Brewers from the Diamondbacks for, I don't really know. I'm not going to try to pronounce this guy, but a right-handed pitcher in the Brewer system. No, I'm sorry. He was just a 1-for-1 bullpen swap, a right-hander for a lefty between the Brewers and the Diamondbacks. But I will say Andrew Chafin in a Brewers jersey is perfect.
I like Chapin a lot. He's a funny guy.
We got to talk about the Rangers picking up Austin Hedges from the Pirates for international bonus pool money, and then Hedges goes and makes his Rangers debut, rocking the silver and yellow catching gear.
So give me a second, because there was actually a report today about Hedges. Let me see if I can find it real quick.
Okay. Obviously, with Heim going on the IL. Oh, you're ready? Okay, go for it.
Yeah, we needed that defensive catcher. So apparently in May, Hedges had already been telling like Pirates teammates he wanted to be traded to the Rangers, because like he pretty much knew he was getting traded this year, because they had Henry Davis was probably going to come up, so he kind of knew that this was going to be it for him. Apparently he'd been talking, saying that he wanted to go to the Rangers. So I don't expect anything from his bat, but we need a defensive guy who can call a pitching staff while Heim's out. Because when Heim comes back, they've already said he's going to be limited to only hitting left-handed, no catching at first. So having a guy like Hedges is kind of going to be big.
You mentioned the Garrett Cooper spot, so we won't dwell on that one much. Brad Hand goes to the Braves as a lefty from the Rockies. The Rockies didn't really make a whole lot of moves, but I thought at least the moves that they made kind of made sense for trying to just grab a couple pieces here and there.
They did a lot better than they did last year. I think last year not doing anything was a bad idea, and this year they made a really good idea and did stuff.
The Dodgers, like I said, kind of didn't do a whole lot. I'm going to skip over that one. Luis Urias came from the Brewers to the Red Sox in a 1-for-1.
That was confusing. Who did they give for Urias? Because he's like been terrible this year.
I'll be honest, I had already passed it up. And I don't feel like kind of going back for it. The Yankees made a small move with the Rangers for Spencer Howard for some cash. Got to get that money to pay those contracts that the Rangers picked up.
There were a couple more failures. The Yankees, I don't think the Mets failed. I think the Mets season failed. I think they had a pretty good trade deadline.
Yeah, the Mets made a lot of moves for the next 3 to 5 years, which I can appreciate. Being an Astros fan, I can appreciate.
Yeah, you don't say, I'll sell a little bit and keep a little bit. You sell everything, and they sold everything, and that's exactly what I wanted out of the Mets.
The only thing that they might have been able to also do, because the Pete Alonso situation, maybe, just because he's on his last year, maybe you could have dealt him and gotten a pretty good
I think that's another year. I think he has one more year after this, and I think people have already said he's probably getting traded this offseason.
Gotcha.
It just takes them out of the running for Ohtani, though, which I think they're going to be upset to find out. But
let's see here. Some small stuff. Tucker Davidson went over to the Royals for Angels cash, because the Angels are going to try to get some money from somewhere. Chase Peterson, blah, 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 Sam Mole. The Cubs made some small stuff, but nothing big. The Giants.
I didn't like them buying. I did like them picking up Candelario. And he heard all the people making jokes about him being the best bat trade at this deadline, and he has absolutely killed it for them so far this year. Like he's raking as a Cub.
They got Candelario for 2 guys, Kevin Made and DJ Hers, which I think were number 14 and number 16. So again, some kind of mid-tier on the pipeline stuff for them. Mark Cannon went from the Mets to the Brewers. Paul Sewald, kind of a maybe not a head scratcher, but kind of a weird. The Diamondbacks went and got Paul Sewald, which I get. Josh Rojas, Dominic Canzone, and Ryan Bliss came over from the Diamondbacks to the Mariners. This kind of feels like the Mariners just folding on a wild card push.
Which is, it's kind of funny to look at because they're folding on it. The Angels bought into it, and now they just went into a pivotal series against each other. And the series so far has pushed the Mariners back into a spot where they could try to go for the wild card. And the Angels are kind of falling out of that, which is a pretty big deal when they just bought everything they bought. Like they could be Oakland level bad soon.
Speaking of the Angels, they picked up C.J. Cron and Randall Grichuk from the Rockies in a 2-for-2. So again, another kind of maybe not a flashy bring back package for the Rockies, but getting two veteran guys
doing
off your
what they
books
need to do.
and bringing a couple guys in. So I get it. They also are going to pick up like an extra $2 million cash in the deal as well. So, you know, I'm here for it. Taylor Hearn got flipped immediately from the Braves.
They gave him one opportunity, and he gave up 4 runs, and they just got rid of him.
They picked up the Braves got one of the best fielding middle infielders in the game with Nicky Lopez, one of the best gloves, period. Here's a fun one. The Rangers acquired left-handed pitcher Jordan Montgomery, which we talked about, kind of called a little bit. They also got Chris Stratton from the Cardinals in exchange for 3 guys. Thomas Sagis?
I think it's
Sagis, right-handed pitcher Takoa Roby, and left-handed pitcher John King. I'll be honest, I knew John King. I'm not really familiar with the other 2 guys.
Roby, I think Roby was our 11th ranked prospect. I could be wrong on that.
Yep.
He's got stuff that's going to play. He just has to figure out how to get it, get it to kind of work. He's got some really nasty stuff, though. ERA isn't going to, it's not what it's very deceiving right now. Sagis hits, and I mean he hits. If you want to, I'll look up his stats real quick, and I'll just go ahead and say them. I mean, he's been killing it in the minors this year. It's just the biggest thing with him, us trading him and Acuna, we didn't have a spot for them. They were both roadblocked, and they're both nearing to be ready to come up. Sagis this year was hitting .311, 16 home runs, 79 RBIs with an .895 OPS. He mashes, and I think he could probably mash at the next level.
Gotcha.
It was a really good pickup for the Cardinals. I liked the trade, of course, because we needed the pitching. We're going for it this year. He was roadblocked. He would have probably never played in a Texas Rangers uniform other than maybe a couple spot starts, I don't think.
The Blue Jays move that I mentioned earlier with the Cardinals, the Blue Jays went and got Jordan Hicks from the Cardinals in exchange for 2 guys. And then the kind of the big move that kicked off like the pre deadline stuff was in Ranger Blue. The Mets and the Rangers made a deal for Max Scherzer for good old little baby Acuna. And I'll let you just take it away real quick on this one.
When I first saw the report was Acuna and Walcott. And I was sitting there like, there's no shot we give up Acuna and Walcott for Scherzer. Like, I was kind of pissed because Walcott, I'm not saying he's going to be like some all-star perennial player. Walcott's been getting comparisons to Tatis. He may not even make the major leagues, but he's one of the best shortstop prospects in that like international class that just got signed. Yeah. So he's like, when Seager goes to DH, which I think he will eventually, maybe around, I'm going to say 2028. Like, that's a bit away, but I think eventually he'll need to move to DH.
Yeah, you'll probably see him go to third base first, maybe, and then move to a DH spot, probably.
Yeah. But when that happens, that's Walcott's spot. Like, that's all we've heard is that's probably going to be his spot. When I saw that, I was upset, and then the reports were it was disciplinary, and that Acuna was the only one in the deal. I love that. I love Acuna. I really want Acuna to play. He was never going to play for us. There was no spot for it. We're filled up in almost every spot right now. He can play outfield. Our outfield prospects are insane right now. Like, he just wouldn't have been able to come up and play for us, and he'll be able to with the Mets, I think. So I really like that. Talking Baseball confirmed hates us. They posted a first inning as a Ranger for Max Scherzer. I've never seen that for any other piece. And then Scherzer ends the game with a quality start and only had that bad first inning. And it was really nice, which the bad first inning could be attributed to 2 60-mile-per-hour bloop hits to start the game off. So
obviously with
really
Scherzer, yeah, you're good.
Right, that's it. Yeah.
Okay. Obviously with Scherzer, he had to waive his no trade clause. He does have that player option in 2024 for 43.33. And he went ahead and exercised that, so he's sticking around. Obviously, that is another pretty hefty price tag. Y'all better start buying some extra merch from the Rangers in order to pay for these guys.
Okay, I'm a little confused by the thing because I think the Mets are paying for some of that.
I'm sure they are. I'm sure they are. I just don't have that number exactly in front of me.
We're paying for like $22.5 million of his contract, and that may be it. But it's a perfect bridge for when DeGrom gets back. Like that's why they made the trade.
The thing about Scherzer right now is this has been kind of maybe one of his sketchy years of his career. Obviously, he is getting a little older. You kind of hope that he has a bounce back and new place, new attitude, going for the win. He kind of finds that Mad Max persona. The thing that I'm worried about with him for you guys is that I think he leads Major League Baseball in the amount of home runs given up right now. So I think he's leaving some soft stuff up. But if he can kind of get back to getting that stuff back where it needs to be, like he'll be fine. It's he's been around for this long for a reason.
Hung his slider a lot this year, and his fastball velocity and movement, I believe, is down. But the advanced stats aren't as good, but they're still good. Like he just has to figure it out. And I think a guy like him that like goes off, he kind of goes off mentality, and he's always like super hyper aggressive. When you're playing for a team that's not good, I think that kind of affects you a little. And I'm kind of hoping that being in this pennant race is gonna help him out, especially being back with Mike Maddox. I really think that could help him out.
And then the next trade on this list was the Astros and White Sox Graveman for the Corey Lee thing, which we talked about last time. So I think we've kind of caught up. We ended this thing with the Max Scherzer. We started this discussion off with the JV trade, so we bookended it with the Mets deals. Kind of looking at the trade deadline as a whole, like obviously we know the stars and where they went and whatnot, but whose farm system, whose prospect pool got the biggest boost in your mind?
The Mets got a lot, man.
The Mets got a lot.
It's got a lot.
I think the Mets are the definitive winner on that end. I do think this is kind of a funny, maybe not funny, but it's kind of interesting topic because, like, the White Sox made some moves early.
I like their deadline, too, even though they didn't give a receipt, and I think they should have.
Here's kind of a little segment from the White Sox talk real quick. 10 of the first 20 White Sox prospects on the revised top 30 joined the organization in the last month. So their top 20 currently, 10 of them joined in the month of July, either through the draft or through the trade deadline stuff. And obviously, like, I'm kind of close to that situation with Corey Lee going over, but looking at some of the other names that they did pick up, I kind of forgot that they grabbed so many of these guys in July. So I do think, the Mets added the two best prospects, I think, in the trade deadline, with obviously Acuna and then my guy Gilbert. I think those are the two highest ranked prospects that got moved for two Hall of Fame pitchers. But, also picking up Ryan Clifford and Marco Vargas and some of the draft picks that they had. I think those two are probably the two biggest prospect increases for an organization. Good.
Oh, no, I just said okay.
Oh, gotcha.
I was looking at my phone.
And then, I think what the Cardinals did, I think the Cardinals made some smart moves too.
Wish they would have gotten rid of another outfielder. Carlson, maybe. I just can't think of names today, man. I'm going to be honest.
You're good. But they picked up 8 guys at the trade deadline, the Cardinals did. So I think between the White Sox, the Mets, and the Cardinals, they've all boosted their prospect pool pretty highly.
O'Neill, that's the other guy. I wish Carlson or Tyler O'Neill would have gotten traded for them. I was just hoping. So I kind of want to go over the losers of the trade deadline and
hit me.
So I already said I think the Mariners lost. I did not like the Mariners trade deadline. I think the Diamondbacks, I didn't like theirs. The Dodgers, the Tigers, and there's one more team. Yankees, of course. Yankees had a terrible deadline. You've got to buy or sell if you're them right now. Either buy in hopes or you sell because your season's over. They did nothing. I think that was a terrible deadline option. Diamondbacks didn't get the starting pitcher I wanted. them to get. Mariners just kind of gave up, I guess, but they didn't give up enough. Like, I thought they could have gotten rid of Teoscar Hernandez if they were going to go all out for it, and they didn't. Dodgers and Tigers are like co-losers because Tigers still have Rodriguez on their roster, and the Dodgers don't have Rodriguez on their roster. And I thought that was pretty big. I think they could have made something work out. Like, he wanted something, and the Dodgers didn't get it, and it was too late because the deadline was over.
Do you think the Angels lose this deadline?
I was forgetting one. Angels, I think, lost the deadline. I did not like them buying. I think they should have sold. I really think they should have traded Ohtani. And I get that he's like, I don't want to be the guy that traded the best player. And you just let the best player in the world walk. You just had Ohtani for how many years? 5 or 6?
Yeah, I think he came in the league 2018.
You had Ohtani for 5, 6 seasons. Didn't make the playoffs a single time with him. And he's going to walk in free agency because you aren't making the playoffs.
Yeah, 2018.
I didn't think they were going to make playoffs. I saw them buy, and I thought, man, this is the stupidest thing I've ever seen because they're one losing streak away from being like, we should have sold. And they are having that losing streak right now. They've lost the last 4.
Yeah, they've lost the last 4. They're 56 and 55, sitting in 4th place right now in the AL West. That puts them a firm 5 games behind a wild card spot. And they bought Giolito, they bought Crone, they bought Grichuk. Yeah, that's to me it's tough to obviously go all in and lose prospects and then still just be a 500 team.
Can't let your pride control you as a competent manager, and I think the manager let his pride kind of work its way ahead, and it's really going to screw the Angels for a while.
Yeah, one way to find out, that's for sure. Right now, in the wild card spot, you've got Tampa, Toronto, and Houston. I think Houston's just about to kind of keep racing Texas the whole way. I think that'll be a competitive thing all the way down the stretch. So I don't see Seattle or the Angels catching up in that regard. They'd have to rely on Tampa or Toronto falling off. And I just don't see that happening. So I don't know. That's going to be a tough ride for me.
He just got his Rangers gear.
Hey, there we go.
I love it.
The Marlins, I didn't realize this, but the Marlins have now dropped a 3rd with Philadelphia kind of surging a little bit right now.
And I liked their deadline. I love the Jake Berger move. I get Jake Berger is not on base a lot. He mashes, and I mean mashes the baseball. I liked that. Bale, I was kind of iffy about it. But if his luck turns around, that's a really good pickup. I thought David Robertson was a good pickup. He has stunk it up for them the past couple of days. And they threw out Jorge Lopez yesterday, and he kind of stunk the bed. So we'll see.
Maybe just a couple of bad mojos kind of going, but those 2 guys they've been around for a while at a high level, so they'll be okay, I think. What do you think about the Cubs not really doing a whole lot? Oh,
I didn't like that. I think I said earlier that I really hated that they didn't sell. Because I think you could have gotten a lot for Bellinger and Stroman right now, especially Bellinger. There were so many teams that needed Bellinger. Like, every team could have used Bellinger. And they decided to keep him. They went on a win streak, so they could still make the playoffs.
They are only 2.5 games back in their division.
I think it would have been better for their future, though, if they would have sold those 2. And I think if they decided to buy, they should have bought more. They got Candelario, who, like I said, has been raking for them since he came. I just think they could have gotten a couple more pieces if they were going to go all in and buy. So
Arizona's sitting in 3rd at the moment. The Dodgers have kind of had a decent little surge along with the Giants, which I was not surprised at, but kind of surprised at, for lack of better words.
Dodgers making me look dumb, too. Oh, my gosh. Your roster can be built like the Dodgers and the Dodgers, but it doesn't matter if you're not the Dodgers, I guess. Screw you, Dodgers.
Arizona's sitting 7.5 games back of the division. That might be too big of a hill to climb, but they are only 1.5 game. Arizona. but they are only 1.5 back in the wild card. So, I think they can easily catch Cincinnati and get a wild card spot or make a move to the East.
The Phillies, the Giants, and
right now it's Phillies, Cincinnati, and
Reds is the other one.
The Giants.
I wanted to say Reds, but it's a Central team, so I was kind of like maybe not, but I couldn't remember.
Yeah, the Reds. And the Reds are a half game back in Milwaukee. So at the end of the day today, like Cincinnati could be ahead and Milwaukee could be behind. But yeah, at the end of the day, it's that's set right now.
I told you my Central theory, like the playoffs.
Yeah, we talked about it last time.
We did. Okay, I was just making sure. I couldn't remember
All-Star game?
Yeah. I couldn't remember if I brought that up or not.
I have a question for you. Will Ohtani's 2023 final numbers be the best season in baseball history?
I mean, I think he could be done right now, and it already is.
As a batter, he is slashing 310, 413, 685 for a 1.098 OPS. That's 192 OPS plus with 40 home runs. It is August 5th.
As
a pitcher, he has a 3.32 ERA, 135 ERA plus, over 124 innings with 160 strikeouts.
Yep.
He has a 8.7 WAR score right now on the year. He is the unanimous MVP running right now in the American League, and he could get on a little surge here and go break Judge's 1-year record if he really kind of picks it up.
WAR isn't very good for two-way players because, of course, they don't really play defense, so it kind of hurts him in that aspect.
Yes. But the fact that he already is over an 8 is insane.
Over an 8. If Ohtani, if he would have gotten traded to a National League team, I think he could have won the AL and the NL MVP. That's how
that would have been so sick.
It's been like I get the people that are like, oh, they only post Ohtani or they're riding Ohtani on all these pages. I mean, it's growing the game. People are seeing this absolute just animal of a man, like just compete at every spot, hit 2 home runs after pitching a shutout while he's cramping. Just, you see, he actually got pulled from his start the other day and kept hitting because his hand was cramping or something.
Yeah, hand cramp. He came to the dugout, ate a banana, took a couple swings, and then went and hit a home run or something like that. And it was
what was that Toronto Blue Jays player?
Kawasaki?
They need to get him in the dugout with Ohtani. That will fix Ohtani's cramps.
Monkey never cramps.
Monkey never.
Yeah, it's so good. That's one of the best interviews ever. I think he knew that he was playing into it too, and that's what made it even better, I think. So with Ohtani, obviously he seems very unhappy with the way the Angels are rolling and not winning.
Well, he was crying dugout or trying to hold back tears the other night.
My question is, come the offseason when it's time for the Ohtani sweepstakes, is Ohtani going to base his decision more on how much money he's going to get, or do you think he's going to base it more off of who can I go freaking win a championship with?
I have no clue because he really, he's not been vocal about it at all. Like, you see a lot of stars come out and be vocal. Like, we haven't heard anything from Ohtani. I think he wants to win. I don't think it's going to be about the money. I think you're going to have to pay him a lot. But like I said, I also think he's going to want to win. If I'm CY, I'm giving him a blank check and telling him to come on over. But I don't know.
Because I'm just thinking out loud, the dude's endorsement deals alone net him probably more money than he makes on salary. Like, his baseball salary this year, I think, is $35 million. Mm-hmm. And I think from endorsements alone worldwide, because he's a global phenomenon and whatnot, I think he makes more off endorsements than he does off of baseball. And so I just wonder how important that side of it really is to him, or is he just I just want a chance at winning? Yeah.
Any team that tries to sign him, I think they also need to realize how much money they're going to be making just from him being on the team. I mean, you'll see him go to away games, and they've got the back boards filled with Japanese brands and sponsors. so that they can, because they know that it's people are going to tune in from around there. Like,
I know
crazy.
you were just kind of like, you were a young kid when like the Yao Ming thing was happening in Houston, but like the amount of like Chinese fans and the amount of like Chinese paraphernalia and the different styles of jerseys, the shirts, the extra stuff that they were selling in the team store during like his prime years here in Houston, like the whole city was like all about it. And then he brought in so much attention from China, and just like an international superstar in that regard. And so, I mean, yeah, whoever lands him is going to land even more attention than that. I mean, shoot, was it Drake got into his limo yesterday with like the All-Star Ohtani jersey?
Shirt.
I mean, crap, man. He's, whatever you spend on him, you're almost, I'm not going to say guaranteed to make it back, but like it's a very good investment from a business decision because you're adding the best player and you're going to bring in a lot of money off of it.
Yep.
Tell you what, have you done the Immaculate Grid today, Aiden?
I'm not.
Ooh, you know what it might be time for then?
Immaculate Grid. Let me swipe up on this. I can get it pulled up.
Let me pull it up onto the screen here. All right, let's see. We got to make this not full screen. Boom.
Oh my gosh, what is this?
Yeah, it's a non-team grid. Let's see, I got to put this kind of between me and you where it doesn't get cut off. Okay, so we have a 300 career batting average, Gold Glove Hall of Fame, 500 career home runs, Silver Slugger, and MVP. I have not looked at this grid yet. So, well, I took a peek when I loaded the thing on before I brought it up on the podcast, but I haven't like actually done it today. The first one that pops off is this 500 and 300 career thing, because that could be sneaky troublesome.
Who do you want for that? I've already got my 300 and MVP, I think.
Okay, so like my first initial thought would be like a Barry Bonds. But I'm 99% sure on that. I also feel like he does not have a 300 career average, but he's close to having 300 career average. So I want to take it a little bit older school, because a little bit higher batting averages before this era.
Yeah.
So I'm thinking Mays.
Willie Mays. Yeah, you go for that.
All right, I'm typing in Mays for my top left here. Boom, 17%. We take that.
Okay. Bottom left. I want to go George Brett. He won an MVP, right?
George Brett won an MVP. Yeah,
I know
he did, because he had a card for it.
He had the finest card.
He had the finest card for it, so.
Yeah. Gold Glove.
George Brett, 3%. Gold Glove, Silver Slugger, Jose Altuve.
Arenado's one.
Oh, yeah, Arenado, for sure.
So, go him. Hold up, let me write these in on mine, too. Willie Mays. George
I feel like
Brett.
300 career average Silver Slugger should be really easy, but I'm also scared of that one. I feel like that's a trap.
Gold Glove was Arenado. Silver Slugger. Did Ichiro ever win a Silver Slugger?
Ooh, surely, right?
I'm going for it.
Rookie of the Year, MVP.
He did.
Okay.
13% also.
I'll type Ichiro in here.
So here's one that we could go ahead and Barry Bonds, because I know he won a Gold Glove. We could Gold Glove 500 plus career home runs him, but do you want to do that?
Yeah, let's do it. Yeah, he won several Gold Gloves, especially when he was with Pittsburgh. Gold Glove MVP. Trout does not have a Gold Glove.
He doesn't?
Nope.
Wow.
He's finished like the next guy out a lot, but he's never actually won a Gold Glove. I want to put Jose Altuve here.
You want to go? Okay, I'll go Jose. 1%. Oh gosh.
1%, baby. People don't like Jose now.
And then this one's kind of easy. We can literally just go Barry Bonds. Oh no, we already did that.
Bonds is not a Hall of Famer either. You can't put him for any of these three.
I am stupid. I forget about that. It's ridiculous to me. That's how ridiculous it is.
Mantle, Hall of Fame 500 career.
Oh sure, I was gonna go Babe Ruth, but we can go Mantle.
Okay. Silver Slugger. When did the Silver Slugger award get introduced? Silver Slugger Hall of Fame.
Adrian Beltre has a Silver Slugger, I think. Well, I'm testing it. I shouldn't have tested it.
Oh, okay. Then I'm not going to put it on our official one. You know what? Then in that case, I'm gonna. Ooh. See, this is a trap. The Silver Slugger one's a trap, man.
Jeter has both.
Oh yeah, Jeter has so many Silver Sluggers. It's not even funny. 10%, and then for my Hall of Fame,
literally go in
my
MVP.
Hall of Fame MVP. I'm going Jeffrey Bagwell. 1%. All right, our rarity score on our official one, not including your mess up, has an 82. That's not bad.
Pisses me off.
Not bad.
Dita.
Let's see. The top answers were Babe Ruth, A-Rod, Henry Aaron on that top row. Aaron, yeah, that would have been a good one. I didn't think about Hank Aaron for some reason. Tony Gwynn, Nolan Arenado, Derek Jeter, and then Ichiro, Goldie, and Mickey Mantle. So,
did Craig Biggio ever win a Silver Slugger?
Biggio definitely won a Silver Slugger in '97, I think.
I would have loved to go Biggio. I love Biggio. We could have gone Biggio for that one.
Real quick, then, let's see. Let me just check my math on that. Craig Biggio, B-Ref.
He had 2 years, like, back-to-back that were just insane, I think.
Oh, yeah.
And if he didn't win one, then...
The late 90s were stupid. So, yeah, Gold Glove, Silver Slugger, Gold Glove, Silver Slugger, Gold Glove, Silver Slugger, Silver Slugger. So, yeah, his 94 to 99 run, that 90s series when I was just a wee lad was pretty soft.
Just curse in the playoffs.
Curse in the playoffs. Those darn Braves.
They played one team. Was it
the Braves?
They played one team, like every Braves. They played them like every year and lost.
Yeah, I was scarred for a long time. That's why in 04 and 05 when they beat them in back-to-back years in the DS, I was like the happiest 12-year-old kid in the world, I think. All right, Aiden. Anything else we need to cover?
I think that's it.
All right. Well, you got an unofficial 8 out of 9, but together we combined our forces for a 9 out of 9 on the Immaculate Grid. Real quick, final thought. Where does Ohtani sign? That's not the Rangers.
I think it's a Giant.
Giant
or Dodger. I just want to be interesting and say Giant because I don't want him to be a Dodger.
I really hope it's not a coastal elitist, but it probably will be. Let's just call it like it is. But all right, well, that's us signing off. Thank you for listening. Thank you for joining us today. That was your trade deadline recap, along with some good old Ohtani talk as always, evaluating the farm systems, who made the biggest moves for their playoff push. And we'll be back next time with more and other interesting things. Bye.